What is up, everyone? Guys, listen up. In this video, we are going to be breaking down the updated best primary weapon tier list in Helldivers 2 against the Terminids. The Buff Divers update was absolutely phenomenal. A lot of changes to the game. I've tested all of these weapons on the highest difficulty, and that's one thing I want you guys to keep in mind. When I'm going to be discussing these weapons today, I'm only considering the highest difficulty of the game. Not level 1, not level 5 or 6, because honestly, any weapons are going to be absolutely fine on that difficulty. As a matter of fact, you can just run around butt naked for like 3 hours straight and not care about anything and still complete any of the missions and probably not even die once. We're going to be taking a look at the performance of these weapons on Super Helldive, because that's what I've tested. Okay, if you guys do enjoy this video, and only if you do, slap the like, sub to the channel. We are getting very close to 50,000 subscribers, so any kind of support is very appreciated. And I got tons of content on the way, both for Helldivers 2 and Space Marines 2, and if you haven't yet, make sure to hop into the streams as well, both on YouTube and on Twitch. Okay, let's begin. The first weapon we're going to discuss is the BLITZER. Now, you guys know this weapon was already extremely good before this update, but now after this update, it's even better because it builds up stun. The ad clear is amazing. The stagger is still there. Overall, you can't really go wrong with the BLITZER. It just gets everything done. You don't have to worry about many things in the game, like it even absolutely stun locks stalkers as well. As long as you get good with the weapon, you're not going to have any issues with the shriekers. Also, I know that a lot of people think that this weapon doesn't do well against shriekers, but it's all about like getting really used to it and timing your shots. You can definitely take care of shriekers as well. So right away, we're going to drop this at big PP tier. It just deserves it. It's so good overall, man. It really is. I'm gonna be honest about the Liberator. I don't think that a lot of the ARs are any good against the Terminids. I really don't. There's just so many issues they still have, even though that they keep getting those damage increases. And we've talked about this for so long, right? Like I've said this many times way before, that even if you increase the damage, they're still not going to be any good against Terminids or in general on high difficulties, because there are just way better options that also have medium armor penetration. And there's one weapon specifically that just makes pretty much all the ARs useless. I feel like in the future they need to make ARs so that, you know, that maybe you have 2 or 3 and then you can customize them. Currently, I'm going to drop this into C tier because it's decent when you're starting off the game and when you're new to the game. But overall, that's pretty much where it ends. There's no reason to run this gun. And that's going to be a huge point when we go over these weapons as I'm going through the tier list, because you will see that I'll talk about a weapon, I'll explain why it's in the lower tier, and then we're going to get to a weapon that just does everything better. Therefore, these weapons, there's no reason to use them. Incendiary Breaker, we'll go to A tier still. I'll keep in mind as we go through these, some of these will move down on A tier. For example, it's going to be lower A tier. Some of them are going to be higher A tier, and so on. The reason it's going to drop a little bit is because of its ammo economy. In order to make it really work on the highest difficulty with the crazy increase of enemies, is that you really need a supply backpack for this. And if you want to build around it, it could be good, but there are just better options in the game currently. Another Liberator right here that you're most likely never gonna use. Is it okay? Yes, it is okay, but there's just no reason to use the gun. There really isn't. You're always going to run into the issues of ammo. You're going to be reloading all the time. The damage is decent, I guess, but as mentioned, there's just better options in the game overall. So we're going to drop this right next to the normal Liberator. Next one, the one and only ERUPTOR that has made its return. Feels very good, very strong. You can definitely make use of it. It destroys spewers, medium armor. Overall, just feels good. You can take down Bile Titans pretty easily if you know how to use this weapon, especially in combination with some of the stratagems. So it is one of the best picks in the game. I do not think it's big PP tier, especially on Super Helldive difficulty against the Terminids, because there's just so many of them and the weapon does feel slow and clunky. That said, with some builds, it can be very good. For example, if you combine it with some of the machine guns, yeah, the gun feels like a beast. We are going to drop this in higher A tier for now. Next is the SCORCHER. One of my favorite weapons of all time, honestly. I do feel like it has fallen off a little bit with Super Helldive. Once again, it all comes down to the overwhelming amounts of hunters and enemies that are consistently jumping at you. Now that we are also much easier to kill, and with all of those things combined, when you do hit the shot, if they are close to you, you get more punished than ever with this weapon. And another thing is, it does need a magazine increase, in my opinion. We're gonna drop this on lower A tier for now, because from mid to long range, it can still do a lot of damage and put in the work. Our favorite breaker, you all remember when the game started, this thing was a beast. They reverted a lot of the changes. The weapon actually feels much better now, in my opinion, and it does get the job done when it comes to what it's supposed to do. It clears ads very effectively. Is it big PP tier? No, definitely not. But does it get the job done better than any of these liberators right here? And even some of the weapons that we're going to see in B tier? The answer is yes. When it comes to clearing, it's pretty good. That said, it's not going to be as good as, for example, the Incendiary if you do run a supply backpack, but overall it feels very, very nice. Now let's talk about the SICKLE. And this weapon right here, ladies and gentlemen, is the reason why you're most likely never going to be using any AR in the game. Don't get me wrong. Some of them are pretty okay-ish when it comes to the ARs, and some of them are actually good when you're playing against the bots. But because, once again, those crazy amounts of enemies coming at you at all times, ammo economy and reloading is a huge issue. That's just how it is. So we're gonna drop this on A tier, and honestly, I feel like none of the ARs can come close to this. It has infinite ammo and it has very good damage. Now let's talk about the Liberator Concussive. So what can I say? After testing this for hours on the highest difficulty, I just don't see me ever running this build, especially now when there's so much better CC when it comes to gas. Do I think that this gun is very strong? No. Do I think that this gun is okay? Yes. But remember, this tier list is all about the most powerful tools that make the super Helldive runs as easy as possible. Is this one of those tools? No, it is not. Definitely feels better than it used to. It can get the job done way better than the Liberators and some of the weapons that are going to be in B tier as well. We're going to drop it into low A tier. It's probably going to move lower on A tier as I go over some of the weapons. But yeah, currently it's going to drop right there. Okay, this Liberator, I'm not even going to waste my time. It goes to doo-doo tier. You're just never going to use this. This is better. Even the normal Liberator feels better in my opinion. And now let's talk about the one and only Torture. Guys, this weapon against the Terminids is literally on a different level, right? It annihilates everything, and the fact that it can easily destroy chargers like puts it at big PP tier, no doubt. There is a few things you need to know about the fire weapons though. A lot of people just directly shoot them at the enemies at all times, then they get hit by those enemies. Now they're on fire, they're dying, and then they think that this weapon sucks. Well, the weapon doesn't suck. You're just not used to using the weapon correctly. A lot of the times you want to use this weapon as a tool to create range between you and the enemy. So just spray the ground, create more distance, and then fight the enemies, right? Overall, easily big PP. This thing is an absolute monster across the board. There's no doubt about it. If you haven't tried it yet, make sure to check it out. We also have a full video where I tested this thing against the Terminids, and it just absolutely annihilates everything. So this is going to be right up here with the Blitzer. The Tenderizer. This one feels pretty decent, but it has a lot of ammo issues once again, and you're going to be finding yourself reloading and reloading. We're going to drop it into B tier. As mentioned, I'm not a big fan of ARs against the Terminids. Most of these weapons are not for me, or if they don't have stagger, or if they do not have medium armor pen, I need them to do very, and I mean very good ad clear. None of these Liberators that you see right here are good at that. So we're going to keep it right there. Punisher, going to go B tier, but it's going to go on the higher tier here. I think that all of these weapons can actually do a better job at clearing or at controlling, such as the buffed Liberator Concussive, right? So we're gonna drop it at B tier. It's still pretty decent, but as mentioned, is it gonna be your best pick or a pick that comes to your mind right away when you're thinking, oh my god, I really want to complete super Helldive as fast as possible and as efficiently as possible? No, that's not going to be one of those weapons, that's for sure. The Plasma Shotgun. You all know, one of my favorite weapons in the game, man. The Plasma Shotgun. This weapon does pretty much everything that it used to do the same way. Does it feel good? Yes, there's something about the weapon that just intrinsically feels extremely good and rewarding once you're landing those shots. And I've played with this weapon for so long that I really enjoy this weapon no matter what. That said, with these updates, there's just so many good options in the game now, and some of them just are so much more effective at some things. For example, killing chargers. You guys remember when this came out, I found a way to kill chargers with this thing, and I just never took it off. Like, it was so easy to take out chargers. Back then, we didn't even have like behemoth chargers running around everywhere. So this was a beast and easily S tier, in this case a big PP tier, but right now I'm gonna drop it in A tier. I do think that it's very good. I feel like it's better than these weapons right here in A tier. That said, ERUPTOR will bring you more value currently in build crafting, so we're gonna keep it above the plasma shotgun. But this weapon can also take out chargers, also take out bile titans. Once again, you got to know these little techniques. The cookout, this is a weapon that is really good. Not something that I personally enjoy, but like after testing it on the higher difficulty on the super Helldive, it's definitely very efficient. The ammo economy is great, the damage is great, the ad clear is great. It takes care of the shriekers. It kind of struggles with like chargers and like the heavier enemies, right? But overall, it gets the job done, man. It really does. I'm gonna put this above the incendiary breaker, and I'm gonna go ahead and say that even if the incendiary breaker still had 6 magazines, these two would be very close. It would just depend which one you enjoy more, because it's a very strong weapon. The ADJUDICATOR. Okay, this one surprised me a little bit. It feels good, all that kind of stuff. The damage is nice. It definitely feels like one of the best ARs in the game. It also does have medium armor penetration, but I still am running into the issue of keeping reloading and reloading all the time on super Helldive. Once again, if you're playing on like difficulty 5, you can pick up any of this. You can literally just pick up a smoke grenade and throw it at hunters and you'll be fine, right? Like, and I'm not even talking like use the smoke effect. I'm just talking just throw it at him and knock him out clean. You're gonna be fine. That's not what we're discussing. We're discussing super Helldive, right? So this one is gonna go higher B tier. It feels very good though, don't get me wrong. I just think that these weapons have more things going for them currently and will be more useful on that difficulty in any kind of environment, solo or team play. So that's where we're gonna drop it right there. The one and only Dominator is next on the list. This weapon, just something about it, man. It feels good. It really feels good. Overall, it destroys commanders. It destroys the spewers. If you hip fire it when you're getting swarmed by hunters, it gets the job done. It does really well against charger tails as well. I'm gonna drop this in A tier, right next to the cookout. I think that it could be here, or it can be here. Like both of these, all of these 4 weapons right here, the first 4 are extremely good at what they do. I'm not gonna lie, I like the Diligence. I think it's a lot of fun to use. It reminds me of scout rifles from Destiny 2, but once again, it's gonna run into the problem of super Helldive. You're getting overwhelmed by enemies, and the weapons that are A and above, they just always have something that help you with that thing, right? So for example, even if you take the Scorcher, right, it has that slight AoE damage that really helps you clear. And on top of that, it doesn't feel as clunky as the Diligences do. Now this one feels less clunky than the counter version, but overall, are you really gonna be using the Diligence against the bugs? No, you're not. Yeah, we're gonna drop it in the lower B tier. This could also be in C tier, honestly, because it's just not a pick and not something you're gonna be picking up. But I do feel like it does better than these weapons right here. So that's why I'm gonna put it up in B tier. Okay, the crossbow. This directly goes to big PP tier. It's not even a discussion. This thing is a monster now. There's a few reasons it's going to sit above any of these weapons here. And especially I want to talk about the ERUPTOR and the crossbow. Essentially does everything that the ERUPTOR can do, but better. It's not clunky. The ammo's economy is pretty decent at the moment. The damage is high. The explosions are big. The ad clear is insane. You can clear bug holes, take out chargers, bile titans, all the good stuff. The explosion radius is amazing. Ad clear is ridiculous. And another thing that I really love with this weapon is it has a skill gap to it, right? So you need to understand how to actually use it. All you got to do is run, and without turning around, just from time to time, slap that shoot button. That's all you got to do. The character just kind of swings it around him and does a quick shot. It doesn't slow you down, nothing, and everything behind you just gets absolutely obliterated as long as you understand how to place the shots. It's not easy at the beginning, but once you get the understanding of it, it's one of the coolest weapons in the game. So it's gonna stay up in big PP tier. I don't think that there are many weapons that are better than this. We're actually gonna move it all the way up here, right over here. Then we're gonna drop the torture here, and then the blitzer is gonna end up on the lower side of the big PP tier, but it's still phenomenal, right? Like, these 3 guns are a game changer. Okay, let's talk about the scythe. You guys know my relationship with the scythe. Previously, we didn't even discuss it. We looked at it. It went to doo-doo tier immediately, and that was it. Like, I didn't even, why would I ever use it? That said, guys, currently it is absolutely amazing. The recoil's gone. It burns targets now. It used to burn, right? Like, they added that with the last patch, but with this patch, it burns immediately now. And you can see that difference, especially on shriekers. As soon as you tag a shrieker just a little bit, they burn down so fast. This weapon feels extremely fun at the moment, and I feel like it just gets the job done. The ammo economy is obviously there. As long as you understand how to control it and not overheat it, you're good to go. You are gonna be burning down hunters or warriors, commanders pretty efficiently, man. It slows down a little bit on the commanders, but it definitely gets the job done. And the fact is that the ammo economy is really nice on it. When you are getting pushed, what I like to do is like hip fire it and just kind of spin around. You know what I mean? You just got to tag them for a little bit, then just keep moving. They're burning out. It's actually very, very nice. I really am enjoying this weapon at the moment. So if you haven't yet, make sure to try it out. I think it will surprise you more than you guys will ever know. The counter diligence, we're going to drop this into B tier as well. It's just not for the bugs. I feel like overall the gun is good, and against the bots, both of these things feel really, really, and I mean really nice. But against the bugs though, it's not my thing. I'm not going to use it because it's all about movement, especially now when we're squishier. We're getting overwhelmed, jumped at by these absolutely insanely athletic hunters. They're like freaking gymnasts, bro. Like, I don't know what's up with them, what they're on, but the jumps that they make are incredible. They don't give a shit where you are. Like 500 meters away, they're jumping in, they're taking your head off clean. So in those situations, you need something to move and shoot very fast that is also not clunky. This is not one of those weapons, especially for super hell dive. So we are going to drop it in the lower B tier. The Knight SMG. Okay. This one, when I was testing, it actually feels good because the fire rate is so high. And even if you set it to burst fire, it feels good. The problem is the ammo economy is not there, but currently this is just another weapon that there's no reason for you to use to. Like, this is not something you're going to be running. We're going to drop this in C tier. The Defender. Nothing much changes about this gun. The only change is on super hell dive, we got more enemies. And are you going to be making use of this? More so than the Cookout, the Dominator, the Scythe, the Incendiary Breaker, right? All of these weapons right here are gonna get the job done better than the Defender. By the way, I need to move the Sickle up here. I think that currently for clearing, Sickle feels better than these weapons. I forgot to move it up, but yeah, that's where it's gonna be. But is the Defender gonna do a better job than any of these weapons here? No, I don't think so. We're going to drop it into low A tier because it definitely is going to get the job done better than a lot of the weapons in B tier right here. So it could be like high B tier or low A tier. I think that it could be in low A tier because it's also a one-handed weapon. So it opens up some setups if you're looking into that. Okay, let's talk about the Pummeler. I'm going to drop this into lower A tier. You guys know I'm not a big fan of this weapon, but that doesn't mean that because I don't enjoy something, I'm not going to put it into a tier list where it deserves to be. It's definitely above these weapons right here. No doubt about it. It's definitely better than the Defender. Currently, it's probably around the same level as the Concussive. The Concussive Liberator might actually be better because of the set ammo economy and the changes that have been made to the Concussive Liberator. So we're going to keep it above the Pummeler, but don't get me wrong. Both of these weapons currently can get the job done and they're fun to use. So this is going to be up to you. Personally, I'm never going to pick any of these ever. And if they ever delete these weapons for the game, I'll probably never even notice. But overall, it can be super fun to implement into some builds and they can get the job done. So yeah, we're going to put them in A tier. The Slugger, ladies and gentlemen, another weapon that you guys know, one of my favorites of all time. But once again, just because I like or dislike something doesn't mean that I have to be biased when it comes to the tier list. I cannot put it in A tier anymore for Super Helldive. Reason being, there's just too many enemies jumping at you at all times, and you simply do not have the time to react to them as fast as possible. It doesn't have the value that it used to previously in the game, with so many good options now, both for ad clear, single target damage, medium armor, long range, AoE clear. All of these weapons get the job done, and also this one doesn't have any kind of CC as well. I'm gonna drop it in higher B tier. I do think that it's still a pretty good weapon, but I also think that everything that is in A tier just outperforms it currently. Spray and pray with a huge ass buff this patch, man. Does it feel good? Absolutely. It gets the job done. It clears really, really well. And we're gonna drop it right here, right above the Incendiary Breaker when it comes to clearing. Now, that said, if the Incendiary Breaker didn't have this crazy ammo economy issue, I would put it above the Spray and Pray. That's not even a question, because that burn comes in handy and just makes the game easier overall. Now that I think about it, it could probably still be up here, man, because it does make a lot of things easier. But currently, we're gonna throw it right here. So above the Incendiary. I do like the Scythe more. This is just a personal thing. Make sure to let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about the Scythe, by the way. I love this weapon against the bugs. It's just a lot of fun. And it also might be the fact that, you know, it's something fresh and new, and there's so many options. Like, if you take a look at this tier list right now, whoa. I'm gonna have to cut myself off right there. Guys, this weapon, this weapon pisses me off. No. We're making a new tier. But why? That's it. Like, that's the question I have. Like, but why? Well, why is it even in the game? But like, what is this? You know what I mean? Like, the only thing this does in the game is break my heart. That's all it does. Every time I look at it, I want it to be good. I want it to be good. But guess what? The only use right now is you take this into a game against the Terminids, you grab it with two hands, and you pretty much use it like a baseball bat as the hunters are flying in. That's the best use you can find for this weapon, okay? And yeah, that's gonna be it for our tier list. Make sure to let me know what you guys think about all of this. Obviously, you're not gonna agree with some of these. That is absolutely fine. I play on the highest difficulty with my friends, and that's where all of this information comes from. And keep in mind, this is just my opinions, guys, right? I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. We don't have to agree on everything. That is also absolutely fine, and we can all learn to agree to disagree. Anyway, if you guys did enjoy this video, and only if you did, slap the like, sub to the channel. I got more content on the way, both for Helldivers 2 and Space Marines 2. As always, thank you for all the love and support. Stay positive, stay disciplined, and I'll see you all on the next one.
Let's go! Let's go, baby! Let's go!
I mean, we literally have the best community of all time. Oh, he got no scoped.